Madam Vice President, thank you so much for your opening remarks. And now our fifth speaker, Her Excellency Federica Mogherini, the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission. Madam High Representative, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you for doing this, because I think the picture, the symbolism of a man introducing a panel of women is quite powerful in itself. So thank you for doing that.
I'm with everybody on this dais.
And I'll also start with a personal anecdote, which is something women often do, contrary to men. When I started 5 years ago, I remember that many were wondering if I was old enough to do this job. And yet, I was the foreign minister of a G7 country, Italy, and I was wondering, is it really age the problem? Because there are prime ministers and presidents that are younger than me. I was 41 at the time, so not that young. And then I realized that the real issue was that a relatively young woman can be accepted to deal with maybe education or social affairs, but with defense and security and diplomacy, that's maybe more for more serious people, more elderly people, more, that kind of person that can put his weight on the table. And I realized that being relatively young and a woman matches two elements of prejudice that are extremely difficult to face if combined together. And I think women in power have this first responsibility, and we all have this first responsibility. That of being, I don't like the word, but it's the easiest way to communicate that, a role model for our girls and young women around the world. Telling them, if a man can do it, for sure you can do it. Being a football player, a film director, the CEO of a business and an enterprise, a defense minister, a president, the sky is the limit. If a man can do it, you can for sure do it. I don't say better than him, but for sure you can do it, at least as a man can do it. And I have the impression that we have to strengthen this, this powerful image of women that are already in responsibility positions. I don't like the word power, and we have a problem with that as women sometimes, to say the word power. But because we intend, as Dalia was saying, power as exercising responsibility, as serving. But I think we have to show that there are women that are already holding responsibilities, holding power positions, to encourage especially the younger women around the world, and to tell them, yes, you can do it. Because we are seeing all around the world a pushback, as the Secretary General was saying, that has to be pushed back by the institutions, but by all of us together in our daily lives. Telling our girls, our daughters, but also our sons and our boys that, yes, a girl can be anything she wants in life, provided she works hard, she has the capacity to do so, and there should be no limit to what she can do. The second responsibility we have concerns policies. Because once we are here, once we have in positions of responsibility, we can shape policies and decisions, as well as men do. Also, men have this responsibility, obviously, because as you were very wisely saying, there's something in it for everybody. When women are empowered, the full potential of society is used, and this is good not just for women, it's good also for men and for the entire societies, in economic terms, in security and peace terms, in equality and quality of our democracies. So we have a responsibility to adopt the right policies for empowering women and protecting women. Protecting from violence, protecting from discrimination, and empowering in access to job, to power and responsibility and institutions, but also to peacekeeping and mediation. And I would like to close on this. In my specific job, which has to do with diplomacy, foreign policy, and also security and defense, what I see is that when we have women, when we manage to have women around the table, which doesn't happen very often, I'm often the only woman around the table, but when we manage to empower women to get to the negotiating table, to get to the mediation processes, to get to the reconciliation after a conflict, first of all, you manage to find the common ground much more often than otherwise. Why? I can give an example. We are promoting, as the European Union, the role of Syrian and Yemeni women in the conflict resolution of their own countries. And every time I meet with them, and I'll do that again today because they're here with us today with the European Union delegation, I see that even if they come from very different backgrounds and histories and political and cultural identities, they do not focus on whose fault is it if we are in this situation. They focus on what is the common solution we can put in place to get out of this situation. They focus on the future rather than on the responsibilities of the past. Then obviously, history also judges responsibilities of the past. But I find that when we have women around the table, we manage to find the common ground of win-win solutions much more easily, because maybe we're more inclined to understand that if you win, it's not necessarily that I lose. You can win and I can win as well. And actually, if we're neighbors, if you're in a bad situation, I'm also in a bad situation. So this search for the common ground, this search for getting out of the zero-sum game that is so powerful in the world politics today, I think is an element that women bring to the table much more than men do. And we need to empower women. This is what we are trying to do in all conflict situations. First of all, to prevent the conflicts, but also to find solutions that are sustainable. Peace agreements that are negotiated by women are more durable and more sustainable than the ones where they do not take part, and in the implementation of the reconciliation processes. This is a matter of interest, self-interest for the international community from a security point of view. So it's not about good feelings, it's also about principles, but it's also about our self-interest in building a more secure environment for our own global community. And then a last point, very shortly. It's about the quality of our democracies. We are seeing all around the world a democratic crisis. More and more citizens everywhere, in all our continents, are questioning our institutions at all levels, from the local ones to the national to the supranational ones. And I find that sometimes this is because our citizens don't recognize themselves in the faces of those that represent the institutions. Diversity in institutions is a value that qualifies democracy in an impressive manner. And this is why empowering women, empowering different generations, empowering different cultural backgrounds, empowering diversity in institutions is a way to strengthen also our democratic life. Thank you.